Alright, before we start the video, I'd like to apologise for the mess of last week's video with the 5 minutes or so of black at the end of the video. I also made a mistake with the M93, or it's actually, I think it's something like the 5th or something co-op unlock. I actually can't find out, but I know it's not the last. Like I said, the last unlock is the G3A3, as many has also pointed out. But anyway, let's get into the episode itself. In this episode of Kit Switch, we're going to feature the PDWR. Now, this is in the PDW range of weapons. Other examples are the P90 and MP7. Now, the PDWR also is an all-kit weapon, which means, well, you can put it on any kit. It's your primary weapon, and it tends to be a small, fast little weapon. The PDWs do have a lot of weaknesses, which we'll get into first, but the first reason is, why would you even try use a PDW? Well, they're a great use in the recon class, as they allow you to play as a more aggressive recon player rather than trying to snipe people from long range. Now, one of the main advantages of using a PDW is that you can get the up close damage and punch, as these weapons come up extremely fast after sprinting, so they're very useful for running and gunning sort of things. Now, when it comes to shotguns, they're better up close. However, the PDW does not have that limitation of range. It can hit people at longer ranges. Now, as for damage and statistics, I have created a new graphic that allows you to see them, so I don't have to go through them all in detail. However, I will say that up close, within 10 meters, this gun is very good. In other words, it's a 4-shot kill. And after 50 meters, it drops down to an 8-shot kill, which is kind of very, very poor, but it is a good little gun as well. Now, the disadvantages of the PDW, there are two. The first is the small magazine size. It only holds 20 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. This means you're going to be reloading a lot. This is ideal for pop out, take out a guy or two, and then hop back into cover, reload and go again. The second disadvantage of this gun in particular over the other PDWs is the fact that if you expend all 20 magazine rounds, you have to do an extra animation of cocking the gun. For example, the MP7, you just flick a little latch on the side of the gun and that slides the bolt forward. However, in this you actually have to fully load the gun. Now, when it comes down to a choice of attachments, I found the holographic and red dot sight to be best. I found any higher magnification, such as M135s or ACOG sights, to be too magnified to accurately hit targets, and this gun is meant for up close, which means you do not need the extra magnification. Now, the 20 round magazine size problem is alleviated by using the extended mags attachment. However, the extended mags I find to be very, very useful, but for some reason I find that staying with the 20 round magazine and the suppressor to be better. I found the suppressor to be very handy for sneaking up behind groups of enemies, taking out one or two, and then you can get a chance to reload before they realise where you are. Now, you can also use a laser sight. I found the laser sight quite handy, but the recommended setups would be a red dot sight or holographic sight with the laser sight and either extended mags or the suppressor. Now, don't forget, the suppressor does cause a 7% reduction in damage. It also reduces your range quite a lot, but the range reduction isn't going to affect this gun too much, because it's ineffective at longer ranges anyway. Overall, I like this little PDW. It's quite a strong little gun. In close range, however, it absolutely rips enemies apart. Now, when it came down to selecting a PDW fire mode, I found just going fully automatic to be most useful. Burst fire and semi-automatic I found just weren't effective enough, and I found semi-automatic to be the best mode to use for me. Now, the sidearm we're discussing for this episode is the G17C pistol. This is a semi-automatic pistol, and it has two forms, a suppressed and an unsuppressed version. Now, the unique thing about the G17C is that it has a built-in laser sight which you cannot unequip. However, as the laser sight may give you away, the laser sight can be turned off with the press of the T button on PC. Now, I'm not sure what button it is on the Xbox and PS3, however I do know it is one of the D-pad buttons that you press to turn off the laser. Now, because this gun is semi-automatic, you might be wondering why I don't say to use the G18, the fully automatic version. And the reason is, this gun tends to be longer range capability. I find that the G18 is great for shooting at someone in the same room, however at longer ranges the G18 just falls flat in terms of accuracy. I find the G17's iron sights to be far easier to use at longer ranges, although I did find the G18 to be more useful in a lot of situations. However, the laser sight on this gun makes it incredibly accurate at medium range hip fire. Actually, the laser sight is so accurate that you can use this to hip fire just as accurately as you would iron sight in the same room. So this gun is an easy gun to pull out and get 2 or 3 shots into your opponents. So if you come across a guy at medium range and you pull out a G18, it'll probably just flail everywhere, while if you have the G17C you'll be able to hit him once or twice accurately at least. Hopefully that'll take him down. Now up close this gun is a 4-shot kill, and at longer ranges it's an 8-shot kill. You can pull the trigger to a maximum of 460 rounds per minute. Now, as I said, it's semi-automatic only, and it holds 17 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. It's also very quick to reload, almost identical to the other pistols. But as I said, this gun stands out because of the inbuilt laser sight. Overall, I found the G17C to be most useful as a finishing weapon. I found this thing to be almost useless as a primary weapon. But overall I liked using it. It was a good challenge trying to use a pistol primary to get the footage for this video, and I do use the G17C now quite a lot for taking out targets or finishing off targets. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Kit Switch. If you did, please leave a like. Now, if there's any particular weapon you want me to cover in the next episode, please leave it in the comments. You can make the kits as ridiculous as you want, within reason. I'm not going to go doing repair tool first or defibrillators. Whichever kit gets the most thumbs up, I will cover in the next episode. So anyway guys, it's been good talk, and I'll see you out there.